Everyone, welcome to Coffee Chats. This morning, your temporary host is Catherine.
Whoop, whoop.
Woohoo! Yeah, wow.
Yeah, we got some round of applause.
Yeah. So, we were called here today to talk about intentional living, intentional communities.
I'm James Frye, by the way. Are we going to wait for Dean, or are we going to kick it
Just
off?
introduce yourself. Let's
Okay,
roll.
cool.
Let's roll. Dean can.
Let's roll.
Here's Dean. Come on up, Dean.
There he is.
And while Dean's walking up, why don't you introduce yourself?
Cool. I'm James Frye. I am going to be speaking later about growing food and the homegrown food revolution. Very excited about that this afternoon, 2:45. I'll see you here at that time. And yeah, I've also lived in intentional community for 6 years, off and on, and in the process of building a permaculture and regenerative agriculture-based community in Colorado with a group of people, and yeah, we're making it happen. So, want to break ground within the next 9 months, and so yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Fantastical. So I'm Catherine, and I was called up here today, I think, because of my involvement with an intentional community where my husband and I and our children, we live currently, and another project called the Homestead Guru that some of us here in the Anarchapulco team have worked on together throughout the years. Lily's been involved, Angel's been involved, and this is a blog with over 600 articles on getting off the grid and how to build a cob house or how to make kombucha. Lily actually has a really great, anyone who's bought a ticket from Anarchapulco probably knows who Lily is because she's like the back end voice for Anarchapulco, right? She wrote an entire ebook on how to brew kombucha. So anyway, I currently live at an intentional community. We've got 20-something adults and a dozen children. We run a school. We're on 173 acres. We've got a nice community garden and community chicken coop, and it's just a really, really beautiful thing. So I think that's why I was asked to be here this morning.
Good morning, yes. Welcome to Coffee Talk at Anarchapulco. Good morning, Mexico. We have some fine guests this morning. And did everyone recover from last night?
No.
Good, neither have I.
I'm chugging coffee. I'm trying hard.
Yes.
Putting out a good faith effort right now, y'all. Good
Yeah.
morning.
I believe I just had instant coffee and it was cold, which makes you appreciate anything but. So we're going to go around and get to know our well, I guess everyone knows our guest, but we'll get to know them again in take two. That was the rehearsal. Thank you, Catherine. Very intuitive. So we'll go around and talk about why you're here and how long you'll be here and what your intentions are.
Great.
And we'll start with Mr. Frye, James Frye.
Hey, it's James Frye. I'm here talking about the homegrown food revolution.
Any relation to Frye's Electronics?
No,
Okay.
Unfortunately, that would be nice capital to invest
I
into
love that store.
growing.
I love that store. So you're here because what got you to come to this event here in Mexico?
Yeah, so known about TDV and Jeff for several years, and was connected with those guys, and they asked me to come speak at the TDV summit at one point, which was awesome, virtually. And then it was like, oh, why not speak in person so I can escape winter from Colorado and blow minds and share how to grow food. So here I am.
Are they growing a lot of food in Colorado? We know they're growing mushrooms.
Yeah, that is one edible product being produced in Colorado for sure.
Mushrooms?
Yeah. Also, cannabis is also an edible product. Turns out, a lot of that too.
So are mushrooms legalized in Colorado yet, or is that
They are
just a fallacy? Decriminalized.
They're decriminalized in Denver.
Okay. In Denver.
Yeah, so meaning that you can't go to jail for possessing them.
I heard Denver's turning into like a Austin 2.0, which is an LA 2.0. So is
Yeah.
that true, or is it more LA 2.0?
I would say more LA.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. It's its own weird beast. I try not to go down there.
Yeah, that changes the demographics, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, that's very good. We're going to go to our other patron here at the Coffee Talk Lounge with your host cruising with you through the morning, Dean Ryan. Catherine, Cat. I can't pronounce your new last name. Can you help me?
Bonandin.
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 Is the N silent?
Bonandin.
Okay.
Bonandin.
Okay. I had to take my English lessons this morning.
It's Italian.
Italians, even see. Life lessons. Kat, you have produced a really great event. How did you become a producer and follow my footsteps? That's great. I never knew I was your role model. How long has this been a thing?
I've been obsessed with you a long time. I want to be you.
We've known each other for a long time, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think I was doing events when I met you. So it's just something that naturally happened as I became an activist.
What events were those, Kat?
Like the Revolution March in Washington, D.C., all the Ron Paul everything. I mean, it was just,
Yes.
event after event after event after event. It was a lot of politics at first, right?
So I inspired you 10 years ago and I didn't even know it.
I know, it's incredible.
Yeah. You were doing speed dating events?
Yeah, I used to host speed dating in Austin, Texas. This is true.
That's right.
And I got my first daughter, I was like this pregnant, and people are like signing up for speed dating. I was like, this is kind of ironic, isn't it?
That's called prego dating. I
Yeah.
believe.
It's the don't drink too much tonight dating.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was last night. But no, it led you here. How would you say how would you say that this event has gone? The turnout, the vibe, the attitude, maybe even my attitude too. What would you say this is
The
turned into?
vibe is awesome, right? Yeah, it's good. It is way more than I could have imagined. It's just incredible. The people here are fantastic. Just
Yes.
absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
Last night, the full moon party, there was this moment where I could just feel the synchronicity in the air. And I want you all to know the visual artist, the dancers, and the DJ had never met each other, never talked to each other. This was not coordinated in any way other than, hey, will you come do this show? Will you come do this show? Will you come do this show? And boom, it was like absolute synchronicity. The art on the screen with the way the dancers were dancing, it was perfectly in sync with the music. And I was just like, wow, this is the heart of Anarchapulco right here. Like, I could feel it. We were all in sync with one another, and everyone was so happy.
What kind of dancing was it?
All kinds. There was fire dancing and LED dancing.
What's fire
and
dancing?
we have I don't know the technical
Are they
words for the
blowing-
things.
Are they blowing
like
fire?
No, they're like spinning things around that are burning.
Spinning things around that are burning. So it was like a Circus Soleil.
Sort of.
Circus
A miniature
Soleil.
one.
Okay, huh. Okay, I must have missed that one, but I have to watch the replay because I missed it. Indeed, James, did you see the fire dancing in the fire pole or the fire pit?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
Is
There was a flying trapeze as well.
Yeah.
In the back.
A flying trapeze.
Oh, yeah.
Was there a bearded woman too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. God,
It was
I missed
it was fantastic.
So, what was the turning point for James Frye from Colorado? What was the turning point? Your moment?
Well, do you mean the red pill moment, so to speak?
Yes, I did actually.
Oh, okay, sure. So, I think it was, spending many years, probably all through my high school years and college years, just feeling like something was not quite right. And at that point, I was already in the world of organic food production and realizing that the food that we were eating was killing us, literally, and things just seemed off. And then someone told me about, a friend of mine told me about reptilians. And then all of a sudden I was down
was
that...
his name Johnstown?
No,
Okay.
but I was down that rabbit hole, and that was like, that kind of all tied everything together. Whether it's true or not, it opened up a lot of windows, and and then from there it all made sense, and it actually gave me a lot of purpose.
Did you have like health problems as a child?
No.
Okay.
Why do you ask? Do I look?
No,
Do I look
not
really
that
tired?
you look sick.
I'm tired, so.
Yeah, well, we're both tired. It's coffee talk. That's why they call
Yeah,
it.
yeah, of course.
No, I'm just saying that usually gets people onto organic stuff. Organic foods.
Yeah.
Or did you have someone sick in your family? Or
No, it was just Dad's a
just
plant nerd, and we were gardening ever since I was
luck
like
of the
4.
draw?
Yeah, luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw.
Had a gardener dad, and
You had a gardener dad.
yeah, my dad was. We were growing food when
he
I
was a
like
landscaper.
4. No, he's a
green
scientist,
thumbs.
but
He's a
but also a
scientist.
green thumb.
He's
yeah.
a scientist green thumb.
Yep, weird combo.
That is. That's kind of a sitcom in a way. But was it? Were you considered bougie just because you were into all these organics before it was cool?
Oh, no,
Okay.
definitely not. More of like the get your hands dirty kind of
Okay.
on the land sort of thing. But yeah, it has become bougie, which is kind of silly. It's kind of the opposite of what it should be. Before they called it organic food, they called it just food.
Right.
And so it's sucks that it's more expensive.
Right.
It's not supposed to be, but
Right.
yeah.
Would you say a lot of your customers are older people, younger people?
It's actually
in
older.
between?
It's actually older, like 40 up.
40
It's
up?
hard to get millennials to like do
Is
stuff.
40 up considered older?
I'm 34, so yeah,
Okay.
for me.
Yeah, you're a little older than me. Yeah.
Oh, all right. But yeah, okay, fine, 45 plus. But yeah, getting millennials to actually do things
Yes.
is pretty challenging.
That's
it turns
hard.
out.
Millennials are very difficult, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't want to do stuff. It's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm a millennial, but anyway.
Yeah, older millennial. But, Kat, what are your thoughts on millennials now that James brought it up?
I don't have thoughts on millennials. I judge people based on how they treat me and my
Right.
experience of them. But
What's your observations on on the younger class?
the thing is, I am around a bunch of really young children, and I'm around a bunch of people my age because I live in an intentional community where all of our kids are in a similar age range.
What community?
I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's in Texas. It's an intentional community.
No, I mean, what's an intentional,
An intentional community is where people come together to coexist, usually in one piece of land, but sometimes intentional communities can function a little differently, like the Free State Project in New Hampshire, right? They're all coming to one state. The one I live on, people have their own homes that they don't own, that the community owns, but that they live in.
That's the school bus, right?
I still have the converted school bus, yes.
Yeah, you were living on a Twinkie bus, correct? Is that what it was?
It's gray.
Oh, excuse
The
me.
Bitcoin bus, yes.
Yes.
That's part of our living quarters still. We've
Right.
got a cabin that we use as well.
Right. Now, what would you describe as an unintentional community compared to intentional?
We actually called one of the communities I lived on in the bus an unintentional community
Yeah.
because it was all unschooling moms
Is it
and
people
kids.
just who pay more? Just they get the unintentional, like they get the gate guarded version?
Something like that.
Yes.
Or I would call it the Jackalope Freedom Festival for any of you out there, Arizona people. No leaders, no organizers.
There's not many Arizona people here, I don't think.
I'm one. I was one.
James, you're a lot of things. I'm learning so much about you. You're an Arizona guy now?
I grew up in Arizona.
You grew up in
Yeah, I
Arizona?
went to Colorado.
All right, let's investigate here. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Here we go. I don't live on a Twinkie bus, in case you're wondering.
You live in an intentional community, what kind of community do you live in? Organic?
Yeah, right now I'm in transition. We're building an intentional community.
Which one?
We're building an intentional community.
Okay.
I lived in intentional community for about 6 years, about 3 different communities.
Now, how does one sign up to be a part of an intentional community? Is it just word of mouth? Is there a ranking, or is there an application?
There's a psych eval. You got to be really crazy to want to do it.
Okay,
that's
very settling.
Yeah, you got to pass the crazy test. Got to be just crazy enough to want to live with a bunch of people. Yeah, they're out there.
So does one have? Do you have to have like a carpenter, a blacksmith, a security arms officer? I mean, you have to have all these positions to be in it.
It totally depends on what the structure of the community is.
And
That's
Catherine,
more of a question
don't
for
help him, please.
Catherine.
Let him answer it.
No,
hinting. No hints.
Yeah.
She was signaling. Did you see that? She was signaling answers. Please. I know how she
we
is.
have intentional community sign
James,
language.
right here.
Yeah, I know.
I'm very
Trying to
serious,
focus.
'cause
Too much sign language.
I have all the power on stage.
I know.
Please go.
So, Yeah, it totally depends on the structure of the community, right? Like if it's land based, like there's 173 acres where she's at. It totally depends on what the intention is, right? Are you growing food? Are you trying to be
What
off
if
the
someone?
grid?
What if someone doesn't have really any intention? And what if I wanted to move there and I don't really grow. I don't. I don't want to associate. What if just like loner people? Just maybe they just want to be left alone.
That could be challenging. It depends on the community. There are loner
Okay.
communities for sure.
Are there really?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone. I think what you find in intentional communities is that everyone has their own set of
So you have to have the
skills and
special
personality.
skills,
You don't
right.
have to necessarily, but whatever you offer and bring the
It's-
community
it's-
comes out.
It's advised to, I would suggest.
Depends on.
Okay.
It totally depends.
Like, could I
Everyone
live in
is
your
welcome
community?
typically.
Can I live in your community? Would you say?
Sure.
Okay.
If you're, I think the main thing that is the most important is what's the mission, and if everyone's bought into the shared mission and vision.
Mission and vision. Okay.
Yeah. Like what is it that we are here
Like
to
I
do?
have to have
question.
crypto and
Yeah, if it's a crypto community, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
So, Kat, I'll ask you because I'm learning a lot of things about not just James, but Mexico. Are a lot of Americans now moving to Mexico, or is it just Canadians, would you say?
I think in our community, the United States people were moving here more quickly than Canadians before all the COVID stuff.
why-
But right now, I think there was a massive influx of Canadians, and it's my prediction would be that it's trickling down because of all the border closures and that people were getting here before they got trapped, right? So there was definitely a major influx of people who were just like, I'm getting out of there. But for example, last year at this event, there were hardly any Canadians. I mean, they didn't know how to travel and get home and da-da-da-da. And in that 1 year time period, the restrictions got so tight that some people who are here now, they chose their freedom over their home and they left and they're here now.
Yeah.
So right now there is a huge blessings to you guys. But there's a huge influx that just happened of Canadians, yes. But right here in the United States, most of us, we are able to travel pretty freely between Mexico and the United States. So people aren't necessarily migrating right now because it's not so intense as it is in other places like Europe and
Yeah.
Canada.
Is there still? Have you witnessed, observed? No judging, but have you observed any rivalries between Canadians and Americans, or is that just a thing of the past?
I think it's a thing of the past.
Really?
I mean, at least down here, everyone down here is just looking for sunshine and love and freedom, and no one cares where you're from, really. I mean, I think
I noticed some Canadians in the buffet line. It was pretty competitive. It's really competitive still.
Well, I will say this. We are an international event,
Yes.
and we have people from all over the globe. And I know that there are cultural things that exist, like, for example, between Italy and France. I know that because my husband's Italian, and there's just a thing between them culturally. And but the people who are coming here, part of Anarchapulco, generally speaking, are here because we're seeking other people. We're seeking community that vibes on the same wavelength. And I don't know, after last night's party, I feel like we really had the vibe. We were all vibing on the same waves, and they were
Yes.
amplified because of it, right?
We were rolling with the homies.
Rolling with my homies.
That's right. Yeah. So, what about like people from China, like the Orient? Because it's pretty restrictive there. You think there'd be more Chinese in Mexico? Maybe there are starting.
Honestly, I think in their culture, the oppressiveness of the powers that be started so much earlier that they're very much so acclimated to it. But when you're looking at people in countries where they were born into what felt like or seemed like freedom, having it taken away is shocking and jarring and creates the fight or flight response. So some people want to stay and fight for their freedom, and some people say, no way, I am leaving, I'm getting out, I'm going somewhere else. And it's just, for me, like, I'm sinking into my community. I'm digging roots. I feel contained in a beautiful space there, just like I do here. So for me, it's Texas and Acapulco, right? Those are my places. I'm not running anywhere. I'm sinking my roots down because I already found that community, right? I found 2 spaces where I love so much the people that I'm willing to plant deep roots.
But you're originally from Missouri, correct? Mm-hmm. Missouri is now considered even more free than Texas. I don't know if you know.
I have babies in Texas, so
Well,
I'm in Texas,
well,
but I love
I'm getting
Missouri.
somewhere.
I love Missouri.
James, please help me. Kat's trying to take over here. Where I'm getting at, Kat, is Missouri seems to be coming up in the ranks as we're more free than Texas, title. And for instance, you don't need a permit to carry a firearm now in Missouri.
I think that just got overturned in Texas this past summer.
See, Kat
By the
always
way.
has to help me one. She didn't tell me this. When did this happen?
Last summer, there was a whole
Okay.
bunch of freedom legislation, not an oxymoron right there, that went through the Texas legislature, and that I believe is now the case that you can constitutionally carry in Texas as well as Missouri.
Okay, well, we have to get our fact checkers just to make sure. We have to.
Someone Google that,
Yeah,
please.
please, yeah.
Wait, not Google.
The point is,
DuckDuckGo it, please.
yeah.
DuckDuckGo that, please.
Yeah, thank you. All right, let's continue our debate here. Okay, so what I'm saying is,
We're fighting now.
yeah, sorry, James.
Bring it.
Maybe the next show for you. Where I'm getting at is, I see a time that I think people will come home if things change, when the war is over, when the war starts, and then it evens out. Because I get homesick right away. Like right now, I'm very homesick. I've been eaten by mosquitoes endlessly. I look like I have chicken pox or leprosy at some point, and you miss that. You miss that home. I mean, you must miss your home. I mean, the memories, the nostalgia, the English speakers everywhere. There seems to be, just as if someone from here had to be in Amarillo, Texas, God forbid, and I just see people coming home eventually or wanting to come home.
I think it's very natural for us to want to go home to our roots, and I think it's very natural for us to be nomadic. I think the natural state of a human being is adaptation. That is who we are, right? We have a mouth that's designed to eat all types of foods, and I think that's a seasonal thing, right? We experience winter where we maybe need to eat more meat, and we experience summer where berries and fruits are falling off the trees. We're designed to survive and thrive and function anywhere on this planet. In extreme heat, in extreme cold, we can do it, and sometimes it might require relocating. If you look at the history of humanity, we're a mobile people. And so, yeah, we get called home to our roots. We want to go home. We want that. Some people might go back. But in the grand scheme of things, we don't even know for sure that human beings are of Earth, right? Like, where did we come from? Who knows? I think we have been traveling a really, really long time. And so for me, I am seeking roots in multiple places so that I can have that safety net for myself. If something happens in Texas, I have Acapulco. If something happens in Acapulco, we have Italy. If something happens in Italy, oh, wait, it did, right? We have Texas. And right now, out of all the places that my family has roots, Missouri, Italy, Texas, Acapulco, one of them is a place we can't go. And this is something I used to think about and talk about 5, 6, 7 years ago about decentralizing your geography, right? How important this is. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's real. We can't go to my husband's home. We can't bring our daughter to her family. We can't expose her to the other half of her DNA and her culture. And so, right now, thankfully, we have this space right here to bring her to and expose her to. And we have this safe space in Texas where there are children running around barefoot in our community with no masks on, growing food, doing school outside, with parents being the ones who are facilitating the school. I mean, it's happening and it's real.
Right.
and it's beautiful, and it's freedom, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but in 5 years that might change. In 5 years there could be war on the streets in Mexico. There could be an earthquake that devastates Texas. I have no idea, right? But the fact of the matter is, if you're able to both be nomadic and have deep roots, you are pretty much essentially gonna thrive because you have options.
Yes. James, you heard what Catherine just said. Mexico, roots.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what do we do in these tribal communities? What do we do when the superpowers that be of the world elite, the ultimate nation state of this new world order, this conglomerate corporate communism, what do we do when they knock at the doors of these tribal communities, let's say, in the free state country of Mexico? What do we do then? Do we pick up our muskets? Do we take our caravans and move? How do we address the new world order elephant in the room?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think about it a lot, particularly with this new community we're starting. I think in the United States there is, we have some ground to stand on with the United States Constitution, a little bit. Other places, not so much. And so I do agree a lot with what Catherine's saying with having the ability to be resilient, nomadic. The challenging thing about someone in my position where we're doing a community that's based on regenerative agriculture and we're building soil and growing trees. I mean, an apple tree takes like 5 years to come to fruition at least. And so that becomes challenging where it's like, well, we put so much effort into the land, we don't just want to leave it, right? And the reality is that indigenous people from mostly the southwestern United States used to move all the time. And so one of the skills you have to be able to cultivate is how to cultivate on the go, how to quickly be able to establish, good soil and things like that. And we're going to talk a little bit about it today. But those skills of being resilient and being willing to move. And if you look at, the 1940s, there was a massive distribution of people around the world after World War II, and people went everywhere, and people packed up and left, and people are packing up and leaving now. And so it's sad and it's hard to do. And throughout history, humans have been people just go at the drop of a hat because they need to survive. So
how do you see what is the end game here? What do you see in the next 5 years as we roll into 2030, and the UN Agenda 2030 is now fully come to fruition, or fully come to a complete stop, or unfolds in the next 5 years? What does James Frye see this ending? How does he see it?
Yeah, that's a great question. What my team in Colorado, what we're working on is, we call it New Earth Ventures, and it's really about creating parallel society. And for me, what that looks like is I think that the world as we know it, the modern society where you've got your earbuds and your Apple Watch and you're plugged into everything, I think that will continue, and it'll be this control structure. And then there will also be people who are living in parallel societies similar to intentional communities that we live in, where it's like you can survive and be unbothered because you're not part of the system, right? At some point, maybe they will come knock on the doors, but I think that there is a scenario where we peel off into this alternate reality. In fact, there's a prophecy about there'll be two different dimensions that will be split, and they'll live in two different worlds on the same planet. And so that's what we see happening. And so we're hopeful that if we're not participating in the broke society, that we can create our new society in parallel. And so I think that for communities who are willing to do that and who are willing to live completely unjacked in from the matrix, I think that it's possible to live free in that capacity and be unbothered. But I think it's about being off grid, and it's being about further and further away from societies and being autonomous. So,
what do we, Kat? What do we say to the simple conservative types out there who maybe want to get into politics? Because I do see, when Trump got in office, there was a lot of libertarian types that supported him in elements of that agenda, and they got chastised from the more anarchist type of circles.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually, for me, it was sad to see. I saw a lot of friendships get broken up because a lot of the anarchist people were told, we have to confront these people who support Trump. We have to just tell them they're wrong. We have to cut off all ties. And I thought that was just a very nasty thing to see, because some of them, like a Rand Paul type, believe that the change they feel that they can make is through political means, or in a republic still, as James said, the Bill of Rights and constitutional. What do we say to those people who want to talk to a freer society or a conference or event, but they feel like they're being brutalized and just kind of isolated? And I have friends like that, but what do we say to those people?
I would say that anytime we are confronted with our own dogma, we are looking at a situation where our mind isn't functioning at its fullest capacity. We've entered into some sort of thought loop, into some sort of pattern. There is no do anarchy my way because my way is better. There's no one size fit all, right? I made a lot of change when I was in politics. I did. I can still go to the state of Missouri and choose whether I have a real ID driver's license or a non-real ID driver's license. That was because of activism that I participated in, right? There are roles in pushing back. There are roles in trying to shift things from the inside, from the political side. And that might change for you throughout your life, right? When I was younger, in my 20s, and I had 24 hours a day to work on the campaigns and to go knock on doors and to hand out flyers and to get signatures and all the things, right? I did those things. And then I became a mom, and the way I began to express my advocacy began to change. I went from, front end to back end. I started doing more organizational things and more, for a while, media type things. So, we all play a different role in the shifting dynamics in society. And there's a saying I heard when I would go out to the Free State Project, and I'm going to modify it a little bit, but essentially, what is the difference between a libertarian and an anarchist? Give or take 10 years, right? And for some people, it's a lot faster, right? So it's a journey. And so you can find pictures of me standing next to Sarah Palin at the RNC and participating with the United Nations Association, in the early 2000s when I was trying to get involved and I didn't understand the dynamics of all these things, and I was exploring and putting out a lot of energy to try and shift things because I saw what was coming, right? I was reading the legislation, I saw what was coming, and I was like, stop! I don't have the energy for that anymore, right? So now my role, my job, my responsibility is to create a platform and a container for other people who have that kind of energy. I'm working on living the free life. I'm working on becoming an example so that I don't have to go out and say, hey, you could do it differently. I'm working on just becoming freedom so that it shines so brightly and so beautifully that people are coming to me and saying, hey, what are you doing? How do I do that? I want that too. How do I create this for my family? I don't feel the need at this time in my evolution to go knock on doors anymore. I am welcoming people to come knock on mine, right? But that changes for all of us. And we may go from, maybe an opposite story for someone else. You may get angry in your 50s because something happens with a business you're running or with your children or whatever. So that period for me of just like rage against the machine, that's shifted. That's over, but there's always that role. And as people start to figure out that they are their own authority, they have to lash out against what they were perceiving as having authority over them first.
Right.
And I think it's natural, just like children. They rebel at some point.
Sure.
Even in these hippy-dippy, homeschooling, unschooling, like there's still a natural
but
hormonal
Kat,
pushback.
I have to remind you, you were a rock star back then. And I should tell people how I know Catherine. You ready for this?
I'm not.
Let's talk about how I really know her. You were a bona fide rock star. You were the it girl of the year. And I know Kat because she was on one of the hottest TV shows and the most controversial episodes of probably over the course of a decade. And that was a show on True TV called Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura. And she was on the most talked about controversial episode called The Police State.
It was the FEMA camp,
Oh, was it the FEMA camp?
but it
Yes.
talked about the police state.
Yeah, it was that episode though. It was
That
banned.
episode,
Yeah,
yes.
it was that. It was banned, and the people that recorded it on their TiVos at the time, it was
They
siphoned.
disappeared.
It was
They
siphoned.
1984'd the episode
Yes.
down the rabbit
It
hole.
was huge, and Alex Jones was on it too, I believe. And it was talked about, and they showed the coffins in the FEMA camp, and then one of the scenes is Kat was walking on the railroads, I believe, something like that, and they.
TV producers are cruel. I got so sunburnt, and they didn't feed me that whole day. I just want to say. And I flew in 4 airplanes that day, and I didn't eat. And they made me walk on the railroad tracks like 15 times to get like a 3-second shot.
And she had these earrings. And they were guitar earrings, and
They were giant brass peace signs.
okay. Yes, I'm totally off.
Huge and
Yes.
heavy and like dangly.
And I said, "Who is this girl? She is talking about the most controversial things, but with style. She had like this punk rockabilly look, and it was just really awesome. And she talked about things." And I said, I have to reach out. And I was a producer in the fashion world at the time. I said, we have to do something. And Kat and I, because of her, she did a photo shoot with me. We were the first fashion organization in South by Southwest because of you. You recall this? And they haven't had one since. So what does that tell you? But just what you did then, I have to give you more credit. Really, it was the magnitude of it. I think it's greater than you might realize. It was a huge thing. It was a huge thing. We're talking about 10 years later, and even Sean Stone, who was here, he was on the show too. So that show alone really sent shockwaves through the system. It really did. And I think that if more of the young people picked up the mantle and the baton from what you did and ran with it, we can make great change in relation, in addition to what you're talking about here, is in the unsolicited societies and intentional society, excuse me. And I think we can do both, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's like what I was telling the guy yesterday who was in the trees, is that we don't need to cut off necessarily the energy coming from our loins. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see this, James? Well, we had a guy sitting next to me yesterday, and he said that he can sit in a park and get very excited and get rid of his depression, but he doesn't do anything about his excitement. He bottles it in like a ship in a bottle and just sends it away. And I said, well, do we have to do that necessarily? Can there be a 70-30 split? Can there be 50-50, 60-40? And I think the same applies, James, to what Kat's doing now and what the punk rocker Kat did before. I think there can be two worlds. You said two worlds,
Totally.
right? I'm just quoting you, James. You
Yeah.
said two worlds. Why
Yeah,
can't there
absolutely.
be two worlds?
Oh, or 5, yeah. Yeah, or more.
Yeah, 5.
Absolutely.
Yeah, variety.
Yeah, variety. Well, I mean, you look
I mean,
around.
they have 31 flavors at the ice cream parlors. You know, why can't there be 31 or more or less?
Yeah, that's a great point. There should be. If we look at nature, there isn't just one food. You don't just eat potatoes. There's like thousands of things you can eat. And so-
Exactly, Irish. You don't just have to eat potatoes.
that's right. That
Or
causes-
rice.
Yeah, that doesn't end well when you just grow potatoes.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, absolutely. I think that you can have both. I think in the community there could be the version 2.0 Catherines who are holding it down, growing the food, raising
But
the
there's
kids.
only one Catherine. There can never be a 2.0.
Oh, are we not cloning?
They can never. Yes, that's what a superstar she was 10 years ago.
Okay.
You need to look this up. Okay,
Gotcha.
continue, please.
Okay. Anyway, so the version 1.0 Catherine, they can be the younger people in the
Right.
community can be doing that as well, and what we envision is people can come in. I love how you said that. I'm inviting people to come knock on my door, and that's what we plan to be is an inspiration to others. Invite them in. They can see like, whoa, this is a new way to live. How do we do this, right? And then they can go out and create it in their world. And so we invite people to do that. And, I think that's a more powerful form of activism is, yeah, please.
So I just want to make one note on this knocking on each other's doors thing. Did you all notice that Anarchapulco didn't post on social media this year? We were like, we don't need to go knocking on Facebook's door. We don't need to go knocking on Instagram's door. We don't need to go saying, come here, come here, come here, come here. Email and Telegram, and y'all were knocking on Anarchapulco's door. Just saying.
Boom. Yeah, exactly. And I think people are hungry for this. They even quote normies are like, something's not right. This is not right, and we have to. They want to do something about it, and so they're showing up and saying, how can we do different? So,
who's the most susceptible to this message, James? Would you say it's the older people, the younger people, the in-betweeners, the conservative type, the liberal type? Because the liberal type from LA who are now in Denver, oddly enough.
Yeah. So many.
They're there because it's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessarily there because there's more organic salads, per se.
Yeah.
They're there because the electricity bill is cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
A one-bedroom apartment doesn't cost $1,900. There's parking, and there's no ladies of the night on the street. Just homeless population, which is exploding in California.
Yeah.
I'm just explaining my experience living in West Hollywood. It's just a very, I could tell you things that would just. It's too early, though. It's too early. But, yes, so who do you think the most susceptible to this message is?
I definitely think susceptible to our message is probably more conservative types. But, I think that it applies to everyone. It depends on how you package the message. I think that with what I do, I do my growing thing as a business, and we get a lot of people who they just want to grow food, and they get the whole like connecting to nature, and they get that whole part, but then they freak out when like I talk about how I don't want to get injected with some mystery goo. And so they were in the fold before, and then all of a sudden I say mystery goo, and they're like, "Oh my God, you fucking conspiracy theorist!" Mm-hmm. And so they were there, like, and so I think that we can, as long as you got to see where people are open, and then how to get them carefully, like into the freedom camp. But so I think everyone is susceptible. It just depends on what their
Should we be chastising people who like mystery goo?
No. And they have if we're really true anarchists, then we respect their right to choose whether it's uninformed or not.
Right.
So mystery goo all the way, baby, if that's your thing. Load it up.
Maybe they think you're talking about something else. We're like,
hey,
mystery goo.
Open to interpretation.
Okay. Yeah, it is. But, okay, well, that's interesting. Mystery, very mysterious, very mysterious.
Yeah.
But
it's very mysterious.
Yeah. Because who said? I think it was Dr. Buttar said that he can't even handle being, just dealing with people that like the mysteries of life, and he just doesn't even have time. But you're saying we should have time. We should have time.
Yeah, absolutely. If you ostracize people, then you don't actually value freedom.
And the doctor would say otherwise, that he values freedom, he just values his time more. So what do you say to people?
I value my time as well. Yeah. There's certain types willing to spend the time.
And I'm not his spokesperson who's just trying to stick up. I'm just trying to represent all sides as an advocate of the people.
Of course.
And, and I get it because when you're surrounded by those type of people, it drives you mad. I mean, just the other night, I said, I'm in Mexico, it's free, and it's, just everyone's open-minded. And we drove down the street, and I swear to you, 9 out of 10 young Mexican people were all wearing masks. Mm-hmm. Outside. Outside. I felt like I was in Beijing or something. Everyone was just wearing a mask alone in a car. Mm-hmm. Why is that, James? In a free society.
Well, they're free to believe whatever they want to believe, and they can wear whatever they want to wear.
Maybe do they have
and,
access to your message, your information? Would you say, or are they just watching Telemundo around here?
I mean, what you find is, I find in Latin America is there's usually one news station, and everyone watches it, and they believe it, and that's about that. Lived in Brazil, and that was definitely the case there.
Yeah.
And so things are pretty wacky right now because everyone believes it. And as far as why that is, I'd have to think about that or talk to some more anthropologists. But
Or philanthropists.
yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Kat, why is that? James seems to be, I might have stumped him. Why is this? Why is this around here? You've been here longer than I have. Why is that? Because there's a lot of open-minded people. There's Canadians who are talking about the atrocities of, Canada, or they call it China, or whatever they call it now. Just all the Canadians. Why have the locals not understood the plight of the Canadians, the plight of the Americans?
Honestly, I think the entire planet was faced with such a massive propaganda campaign that there's a lot of fear and misunderstanding. And for some people, it could be the right choice for them, right? I think ultimately...
But the taxi drivers, they're all masked, and then...
But that's their choice.
They're telling me they have to do it for work.
Oh, well, that is
Some of them.
There's other explanations for that.
Yes.
The taxi business is run a certain way here.
Okay.
And
See, no one told me this, Kat, until now.
I mean, look, I can't make an explanation for the choices of other people. I can only explain my own behavior.
I need answers.
Right?
I need answers.
So go ask them, is what I would say.
Okay.
Because I can't explain
Okay,
anyone else's behavior. I can only explain my own. And I wanted to mention...
Please do.
There's this book, and I talked about it in Telegram a couple months ago, and I promised a couple people we would do a book club about it, and we haven't because I've been too busy, and I'm sorry, but in April, I want to do it. So for those of you here listening, and we were talking about this, like having to move and be mobile, and like what happens if the state comes knocking on our door, there's this book called The Fifth Sacred Thing, and it's about this. I don't remember the exact year it's set in, but it might be like 2040, and it was written by a Native American. And the plot is essentially there's massive disruption across the planet. We grew into this technocracy, right? And whatever, war, whatever, things imploded. And there's areas like LA that are a total police state. People are essentially slaves to the system. They have to beg and work for water credits. I mean, getting water is like really, really difficult in this society, which would make sense in LA, right? That's always been an issue, is water in LA. But there's this pocket of freedom up in the San Francisco area, and they've literally been out of communication with the rest of the world for a certain amount of time, right? And they send a delegate down to the LA area to find out what's going on. And so this story unfolds, and it's incredible because it gives a glimpse of what could happen if we are faced with some sort of, post-apocalyptic scenario where we've got to figure out how to rebuild. And it gets into everything from the regenerative agriculture, how they're saving water, how they, reuse every bit of food to further their soil production. And I mean, it's just this really incredible story. So I want to encourage anyone here who wants to read it. The Fifth Sacred Thing, if you want to talk about that book with me after you read it, I'd be so excited. It's like really, really good. So The Fifth Sacred Thing by Starhawk.
I'd also encourage people to read Animal Farm by George Orwell because here's why. Because when society rebuilds again, there's always going to be pigs that just rise to power, no matter which tribal society you have.
And I think it was Brave New World, right? The people were all on the drugs, and then they got sent to the reservation in New Mexico at the end. There's always another world, right? There's always another dimension. There's always another choice. No matter how controlled, overtly manipulated, oppressive this world, this bubble, this dimension is, you can shift into another timeline.
Right.
It's possible.
Well, I was going to say to quote George Harrison, these pigs need a damn good whacking. And I think that's the time is if we're going to go on the defense, why can't we go on the offense? shouldn't we have an offensive plan? Shouldn't we have the blueprints to make sure these clandestine families, the Pelosi's, the Klaus Schwabs, just get publicly piñataed, as the Mexicans would say, and make sure that their influence, their tentacles, their lineage is pretty much out of existence in the same way the Chinese took care of the dissidents in Tiananmen Square in 1989. They got rid of all the people, those poor protesters' lineage. Should there be an offensive plan? Or should we just wait till they come knocking on our door, then deal with it then? James?
Why don't we just manifest another reality?
Well,
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, my personal view on that is no, because those people all depend on us. And if you could imagine, just if I could wave a magic wand and make all humans just back to living with the earth, producing food, clothing, medicine, shelter, everything from the earth because it provides it for free, then what are the Klaus Schwabs of the world going to do? Nothing. They have no power over free people. Unless there's, even with, even people in the military, it's like most people join the military because they don't have money, right? And so they go for like a measly salary, and then they follow orders, right? But really, they don't actually want to be there for the most part, right? And so if those people are living free and are feeling the love of community and connection with whom they live around, then there's no reason to be part of the system. And so that's my ultimate vision. Will it ever happen? I hope so. But I'm going to work on that as long as I'm breathing. And if enough of us opt out from that, or even just live in our own parallel societies where we're opted out of that, it's like, who cares about, these totalitarian folks? They won't have any power over us. So that's my opinion.
So you're saying don't feed into the power?
No, don't give it a second of your attention. Yeah.
Okay, don't fight the power.
If you give it energy, it just feeds the animal,
Right.
So yeah.
What
if you want to get all,
Kat?
if you want to get all, get all 5D on me, yeah, sure.
Kat, repeat what you said, please.
I said it builds the hologram.
Okay, are we talking about?
It's our collective reality. We're all thinking this into existence right now, So, why don't we think something awesome? And you know what? Since I started doing that, my life has been awesome.
Well, that leads us into that. No, that's a good point. That leads us into Project Bluebeam. Let's talk about that. Project Bluebeam, the hologram, a greater force that maybe we're not privy of knowing. Look, they have new technologies we don't even know about. They're rolling it out underneath our nose, and where I don't know who said it around here, but privacy is a thing of the past. How do we hide? How do we find that privacy, if you will, outside of the metrics?
When you heal your trauma, there's nothing left to hide. It's like what is there? Once you've done that, like what Macy did yesterday here with all of you, that vulnerability, when we can be heart-centered beings, there's nothing to hide because we can support each other through whatever is happening. You're suffering, you're hurting, you're scared, you're whatever. We can be here for one another. And honestly, I think we are the technology. And all of this other stuff is them trying to convince us that they are the technology. But it's us. We have that. We can communicate with one another. We are building this hologram. I mean, we create people. We make people. Think about that. We are the technology, and they are trying to become us in a machine way and convince us that the machines are the technology, but it's us. We already contain all of that within us. It's a biological birthright that we have. And so once we start living in that way and understanding that, I'm telling you, I've manifested everything I want. And I was telling some of my friends, after Anarchapulco, I got to figure out what's next, because now that I've shifted into this mindset, now that I've shifted into this way of being, I'm not confronted with, oh my gosh, this sucks or this whatever anymore. All of it is a blessed opportunity, and everything that is coming my way is unfolding just so magically and so perfectly. But I had to make a choice, right? I had to make a choice. And I think if we all make that choice, this right here, this hologram that we've created here, we can carry this out into the rest of the world, and we can be that beacon, and the rest of the world can start to co-create this with us.
Okay, Is there a special code? I'm not.
It's an applause.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. Is it the golf clap of the event?
It's from poetry readings.
Oh,
Do not
okay.
be rude and go over their
Okay,
voice.
I thought he
It's a
meant for me to like
sparkle
demos. Hurry
fingers.
up. Okay, I'm not. See, I didn't know this. It wasn't in the handbook. Okay, so okay.
Well, we need to get you a copy of the handbook.
I get it. Yes. All right. Well, it's the intentional clap, the intentional society clap. Okay.
It's part of our sign language.
Right.
That you don't know.
Right. Now, are you guys fearful of, or I can't say that word. Are you guys thoughtful, James? Is James thoughtful?
What am I afraid of?
Is James ever have you ever thought about what the ethno state is? You have like Antifa types, but then there's something in Atlanta called Pantifa. It's the black version of Antifa, and they want to fulfill Elijah Muhammad's dream, if you will, Nation of Islam, of the ethno state. And there's an alliance between them and the white supremacists that, okay, we want our ethno states. Do you think there's a potentiality of an ethno state that could linger into these new societies? Because that is kind of what prison looks like. Not that I've been, just from what I've seen. Is there that chance of that happening in societies that could just be around yours, that ethno state? And I mean,
anything's possible. I think that for the most part, the things that I've seen are absolutely psyops. I think that they're rooted in the need that people have to be heard and expressed, and those are real needs, and people did suffer and were oppressed, and then it feeds on that need in this really sick way. And so I think that the more that we make people aware, help make people aware of what's actually happening, that the less susceptible they are to be led on by such an organization. And at the same time, I mean, there actually is an intentional community in Atlanta where it was at the time when, there were, I think like several black people had been shot by police, and this intentional community gathered. There was it's like 30 black families, and they were like, we're tired of being shot at, and so they went and made their intentional community, and they have it now, and it's like often, off the beaten path, and it's awesome. That's what they wanted, and so I think that drove them to create that, and so. And at the same time, like, it's a peaceful community. They just want to be left alone, right? And so I don't think there's any worry about those types of communities, like, infringing on other people's communities, because for the most part, like, they actually just want the same thing that everyone else wants, which is freedom and sovereignty.
Well, due to time constraints and my busy schedule, tell us, James, real quickly, if you could, how do I find you, and how does this wonderful audience, how do we find you and get in touch with you and your brethren?
Sure. Groweverywhere.com. Grow everywhere.
Grow
like growing plants everywhere. Groweverywhere.com.
Okay.
And website's being updated. It's really old, but that's where you find me. So
okay. And
on
Kat,
Telegram as well, but you gotta come talk to me.
And Kat, I guess we could find you around here.
Just come grab me.
Okay, and I really do encourage people, look at Kat's look at her early records. I mean, she was a bona fide rock star then and still is today.
I was a hothead, okay?
Well,
it was a little wild.
You have just a body of work that I think people should discover. It goes way beyond what you see here, and that's what keeps me interested in your star power. I think it's just really great. So, anyways, I want to thank everyone for catching Coffee Talk with Gene Ryan, and welcome. We are the #1 voted show by the Hangover Society. So I can tell you that. Yes, that is very true. So, thank you for the poetry clap. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. See everyone tomorrow morning, and enjoy your rest of your stay here in Mexico. Good night.
Bye, everyone.